Good evening, everyone. My name is Bindu Zachariah George. The topic for discussion today is the Muslim marriage. We will discuss about nikah. We will discuss about the essentials of the valid marriage as per the Muslim way. We will also try and discuss few case laws. I hope you will enjoy this session. Again, like I always maintain, it is from a student perspective. We understand that marriage, as per any religion, is a holy sacrament where we understand that the union is between two souls on earth, and it is done through the sanctions of the concerned religion. Here, the belief that we hold is it legalizes the sexual intercourse and procreation by giving it a legal sanction. Now, marriage unites not only two souls but also the families concerned with these two people. So that's another factor that we have to understand. It gives the husband and wife certain rights and obligations and of legitimacy of having those kids. It is a civil contract. Mullah defines nikah as a contract which has for its object the procreation and legalization of children. Now, let's also look at the essentials of a valid shadi or shahi marriage. So, a Muslim marriage requires the following conditions to be satisfied. One, it is a civil contract, then capacities of the parties, free consent. It is assumed that both the parties have agreed and have come to the conclusion that they want to get married to each other. We also look at the prohibited degrees of relationship. Now, we are going to take each term and then further discuss that. Muslim marriage is purely a civil contract. As in the case of a contract, there are two parties. One party makes the proposal and the same is accepted by the other party. Now, the proposal and acceptance is known as, proposal is called as the ijab, and the acceptance is known as kubul. The proposal is made by the bridegroom. The proposal, like we already discussed, is called the ijab, and it also consists the element of providing the dower money, that is for the welfare of the bride. The bride sits behind the parda with her relatives accumulated who have collectively joined to conduct this nikah, and when she also utters the word kubul, that's when it kind of solemnizes the marriage. Now, at one meeting, the ijab and kabul must be done at one meeting. The ijab is at one time and kabul at another time will make the marriage a void marriage. Now, the consent of both the parties is assumed to be free will. It has to be free will and not under influence, misrepresentation or coercion. Marriage under compulsion is not valid under Sunni and Shia schools, but it is valid under Hanafi sub-school. According to the Shias, witnesses are not necessary, but according to the Sunnis, two male witnesses or one male and two female witnesses who are sane and adults should be present. Now, absence of witnesses renders the marriage irregular but not void. Now, let's also look at the second element that we discussed, which is capacity of parties. The parties to the marriage should be competent to marriage. In Muslim law, a person who is sane, sound mind and has attained puberty is competent to marry. The person who has not attained puberty is a minor. The age of puberty for both a boy and a girl is considered to be 15 years of age. Puberty means the age at which a person becomes capable of performing sexual intercourse and procreating children. Puberty and majority are in the Muslim law one and the same. So this is one factor that we have to always remember. Now, the Hidayah lays down that the earliest period for a boy is 12 years and for a girl is 9 years. We're talking about the age of attaining puberty. But under Shia law, in the case of males, puberty is assumed to be attained at the age of 15, but in case of females, it's 9 years of age. The parties should have the capacity to contract marriage. Here we understand that they should be of sound mind, they should be adults, Balik, both Major and Rashid, unless their marriage is contracted by their respective guardians, and both the parties should act out of their own will, own free will. Now, the next point that I would definitely want to discuss here is the factor of free consent. The marriage to be valid, the parties must be freely consenting to the operation of it. According to Hidayah, a woman who is adult and of sound marriage may be married by virtue of her own consent, although the contract may not have been made or accepted by her guardians, in this whether she be a virgin or saiba. It is a general law among all sects that in case of an adult woman, consent must come from her. Without her consent of her father, grandfather, etc. only is not sufficient, though in some cases permission to marry may be obtained from father or grandfather wherever it was possible. Now, in order to validate the marriage of a boy or a girl who has not attained the age of puberty, the consent of the legal guardian is necessary. The marriage of a minor girl without the consent of her guardian is not valid, it's void. Now, under Hanafi, if the consent is obtained by fraud or compulsion, the marriage would be valid but only irregular and not void. Suppression of certain facts by any of the contracting parties have been held to amount to fraud. So, this is a factor we have to remember. Now, prohibited degrees of relationship, this is the fourth point. The parties to the marriage should not be within prohibited degrees of relationship. Here it could be absolute prohibition or relative prohibition. Now, what is absolute prohibition? Absolute prohibition could be consanguinity, affinity, fosterage, polyandry. Then consanguinity is nothing but the blood relationship, that is a mother and a son, grandmother and grandson, brother and sister, uncle and niece, nephew and aunt. Affinity would be a man should not marry his wife's mother or grandmother, however high soever the relationship is. Wife's daughter or granddaughter, how low soever. Then wife of father or paternal ancestor, wife of son or son's son or daughter's son, however low soever. Then fosterage is if a woman suckles a child of another, the foster relationship is created. Here a marriage between two people having a foster relationship is prohibited. Polyandry, if a woman has two husbands, it's called bigamy. If she has several husbands, it's called polyandry. A Muslim man can have up to 4 wives at a time, but a Muslim woman cannot have more than one husband. If so, the marriage is considered to be void. Now, a relative prohibition would be absence of witnesses, polygamy, that is having several wives, more than 4 wives, marriage during the iddat period. Iddat, it renders the marriage irregular but not void.